It's it's such a lovely feeling because at the beginning I I struggled with the thought of what I'm doing is narcissistic because I was like, I want the praise from people,
No,
but I'm
it's
like,
helping people.
it's that's. But then I realized that's how I justified it to myself afterwards because I tend to always think the worst of myself, but I think that I've managed to control that a little bit now, see the worst side and think, actually, no, I'm not doing that. I'm doing it because number one, I enjoy it. I have something to say, but ultimately, I would like to impact people positively in one way or another. But if you're a creative person and you're exposing yourself by writing something personal, sometimes you need a little bit of feedback because
Yeah,
otherwise, if you're exposing yourself like this and nobody's giving you any feedback, unless you've got some rock solid self esteem, that's going to have a big impact on you because it's like you need that feedback
yeah,
from, you
yeah.
need live feedback from people, you
I always
know?
say to slam, go to the slammers, to the poets, speak to them after the show. That's what they need. That's what we need. This feedback is very, but it's like exposing yourself and say personal stuff as well. It's like it's trauma healing
It is, yeah.
for many people who are in the room. That's why, and when this happens, it's like, but even if nobody comes to speak to you, you feel it on stage. I mean,
Mm,
you feel the connection, and you feel it. So this is a feedback as well for me.
yeah. For me, like, it has changed my life. The performing side of it
Mine
has
as well.
opened up a whole avenue of life. You know, it's totally revolutionized my whole life because I've got a hobby now. I've got something to do. I have a reason for socializing. I have a reason to go to events and to search for events and to want to go to other places because I stopped drinking like a few years ago. I stopped taking drugs. And then when you stop drinking, you stop taking drugs, you have a girlfriend, your reasons for wanting to go out go down, you know, because I'm like,
Yeah,
a lot of my 90% of my reason for wanting to go out before all the time was to take drugs, get drunk, and try and get laid. And if you're not trying to do any of those things, then I'm like, why would I go out? I don't want to go talk to people, make stupid conversation in bars with random people. Like, don't want to do that.
yeah,
But then you do something like this, and I'm like, Tuesday, go to anything else, and I see amazing musicians, amazing spoken word people, a little bit of comedy. Then you chat to these amazing people, and everybody's like, when you chat to them, you have number one, you have a reason to start talking to someone because I hate starting conversations with people. I always feel like they don't want to talk to me, and I'm just going to be irritating them. So I always wait for people to start talking to me. And if you perform, it's brilliant because people come up and talk to you and say nice things, which is nice. And then that just breaks the ice, opens the door, and then you just meet loads of nice people, nice creative people who are all trying to do exciting things. And I just think that not everybody has it in them where they care about performing or using their voice, but there's a huge chunk of the population who need to speak, who
yeah,
have an
yeah, yeah. I
inherent need
completely agree.
to voice their opinions and just to let things out. And it tends to be the more sensitive, creative type that they have to let it out because if not, all this stuff builds up inside of them
Yeah,
and they've got
and
no way of
explode.
expressing it and they explode or they go out and take drugs or just try and do whatever they can just to get rid of this internal suffering, I suppose, that's just,
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and it's actually it depends on your struggles. This you can see it in in the performance of each person as well. I mean, because I hear many times, oh, this person shouts a lot. I don't like the performance. No, no, let them shout.
mm,
They need it. That's why they do it. They don't shout just to scare you. It's like they like performing, shouting. Why not?
yeah,
I mean, you start accepting different stuff because before we try to accept everybody as they are, blah blah. But then you see performance. The first time you're like, oh my god, all amazing, and then you start having an opinion about how the other person is performing. And it's like we always like to criticize, when you feel like, okay, now I know more about this people, now I'm gonna start criticizing them.
mm,
So for me, this was new as well. I mean, they told me sometimes, oh, yeah, but you shout a lot. I said, yeah, because that's why I came here. I to
mm,
do this poem and shout. That's what I needed. I don't need, I mean, I don't, that's why we do it. If not, we stop. if we start performing the way the others want us to perform, then why do it?
Yeah.
Mm,
It's like, for example, I was at End of the Coronaverse a few weeks ago, and it was the first two poets were one of them was, I think he was mixed race, either black or mixed race, and the next one was black. So one of them's English and one of them's American. And then the first guy, his poem, first one was about love, second one was about racism, the racism that he'd experienced and his struggles being black and people's perceptions of him. Then the second girl, she did one of her three poems was about her being sexually assaulted, like someone effectively trying to rape her. And so, but they were both brilliant. The second girl, especially, I can't remember her name, so I can't plug her, but she was an amazing performer. And even though she was telling something dark, she performed it in almost a light way. And she had that American way about her where she's just so excellent at performing. But it's really dark stuff,
mm,
and that's quite often my first few experiences of spoken word and two brilliant people. You probably know Becky
yeah.
and Mariah. They were, I think, were the two first people really I saw doing spoken word, and they both. I don't know much about Becky, but her stuff is quite intense sometimes, and she's quite an intense person when she performs, but brilliant. Mariah also has
Yeah,
had
she has
some.
her style. I mean, each one they have. We have our styles, how to pass stuff to the audience. So, as I always say, we need to respect every word that we wrote,
Mm,
and we need to make this word to be heard from the people. And Becky, for example, she has this amazing rhythm,
mm,
and you don't lose not even one verse of what she
yeah.
says. You are like stuck on. So yeah, the performing style is important, and yeah, some people they have it like they know how to connect and how to pass all the stuff to the other people. This is very interesting for me actually. And then it's Asling that for me is one of my favorites as well. Asling.
Oh, she's
It's
fantastic.
different style, different poems, but still, so strong.
I'll try and when I post this, I'll get there. I'll link them all at the end. But yeah, that's the